All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the CSL. We've got a terrific match here for you tonight. It's going to be Temple versus Florida University, and this is last season's runner-up champion compared to a team that has kind of a strong legacy in the CSL, but hasn't been doing so well as of late. How are you feeling about this match tonight, man?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Joe. I think that this is definitely going to be favoring one team, especially since they are already starting the entire day up with a 1-0 lead just because the other team could not field all of their players today. They weren't able to get everyone together, which is definitely one of the CSL pains that I know all too well, having been on a CSL team. But it is Temple University versus University of Florida, and University of Florida had to forfeit their first game of the day because unfortunately Havoc was not able to make it here today. So Temple University ends up sitting up 1-0 and moving into game number 2 already.
Yeah, and game number 2 is going to be Tesla, King Tesla as his handle is, versus Bexby. Now, Tesla is a player I know pretty well. I live right near Philadelphia, so Temple's local to me. I know these guys. They've been coming out to Philadelphia and other East Coast lands forever. And Tesla tends to do pretty well at the offline lands. At events, he'll get your top 8s, your top 4s. Whereas Bexby, I mean, the guy's a High Masters player. I'm sure he's decent, and I'm sure he'll put up a game, but there's a big difference between the players with those achievements and those without.
Well, I do have a lot of faith in Bexby because he has a 100% win rate this season in every single matchup across all 6 of the games he's played this season. So, of course, going to give him a little bit of credit, but want to give a big thank you, of course, to the wonderful sponsors that make the CSL possible. First of all, Twitch. Without them, you guys wouldn't be able to watch this broadcast. And, of course, Band Gaming. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of different videos explaining exactly what is Band Gaming throughout the broadcast. So do pay attention to those. It's a really great social media platform for you to connect with other people, including your CSL team.
Yeah, I wonder if they wouldn't have been a man down if they'd just gotten signed up on Band Gaming.
Exactly. I think that's what everyone's thinking.
But anyways, our first player spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, playing for Temple University right now, we have King Tesla.
And up at the top left-hand corner of the map, the blue Terran player rocking that University of Florida tag. Give it up for Bexby. I always like the University of Florida team just because they have such a cool clan logo. It's that alligator that Florida is so well known for, and University of Florida, I believe, are the Gators.
Yeah, I think Gatorade actually comes from like their guys felt like they were too depleted on the field, so the chem department threw together something with a little bit of extra, and it was Gatorade because it aids the Gators, the football players that were hurting.
Fascinating. I did not know that. I actually can't. That is such a surprising fact to me that I can't tell if you're joking.
So I'm not joking, but it also might not be true. Like, it might be one of those kind of like urban legend type things, but the story I was always told was Gatorade was invented because the Florida Gator football players sweated out more than just drinking plain water could replace, because it's hot down there, man.
It really is. It's hot and it's humid down there, but seems like Bexby is going to be hanging on in there because he is playing on the very, very cold map of Frozen Temple, going for that Reaper opening. And I just want to note, I really like the fact that Tesla, knowing that he is probably the favorite coming into this particular game, goes around, scouts out very, very actively for any kind of proxy Reapers or any proxy shenanigans that could be coming out with that early probe. Just playing it extra safe.
Yeah, and I think he's probably going to be one of playing whatever style he feels most comfortable with. I know he's been feeling pretty sick lately, and that can throw you off. So I feel like when you're off your game, you kind of want to fall back on just whatever your autopilot mode can be the strongest in. And he feels opening a bit greedy, like you said. Just making sure he kind of does everything by the books. That's how he feels he's going to be the strongest here.
Yeah, he is going to be up against a fairly standard Terran opening as well. So I think everything that he's doing is going A-okay. He's getting out a Adept pretty quickly. He's getting out his Mothership Core, not delaying it too much to get out like a fast Starport or Stargate, anything like that.
Well, the Adept is going to be here to kind of shoo the Reaper away. Good job phasing it around. He's actually doing a really nice job of zoning here. The Reaper's not going to be able to continue to get information. And Tesla advances without taking any kind of damage at all.
Yeah, really interesting that we end up seeing this SCV in the bottom left-hand corner. I really wonder, is Bexby about to proxy an expansion, or is he just getting ready to scout later on?
Yeah, I mean, that ninja base, like, you don't really see that on Frozen Temple a lot, right? Because it's a map where it's easy to just scout everywhere because it's so damn small, and
That's why nobody bothers to scout, because it'd be dumb to try and take a hidden expansion on this map. It's so easy to scout, and that's when you take it, Joe. That's the time that nobody expects it.
that's like the onion of mind games, where you've got, like, layers on layers on layers on layers. Oh, it's a... Whoa.
Adept might be finishing really, really close to that Widow Mine, but finishing just outside of the range. Really nicely done. Tesla getting some vision of that Widow Mine is now going to be very, very careful about it.
But what he doesn't have any vision of is a proxy fusion core, Ravi. That is one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
Well, you know what? Go big or go home, Joe, because at the end of the day, we already have mentioned Tesla is a little bit favored coming into this. And if you're going to win, you got to do something to throw him off his game.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a nice attempt there from Tesla. He tries to set off the Widow Mine. Doesn't quite work out, but he tries to bait it out with the Adept Shade to get out of there just in time. He's going to try it again.
He's trying to do like Blink Adept Micro, basically. He's timing it out so it kind of baits it out the same way the Stalker does. It's not quite working for him, but it's a really cute idea when you're in this kind of stage of the game where, like, you're good enough that all your macro stuff is just happening on autopilot.
Yeah. If only I could do something like that, Joe. But I know, exactly as you were saying, all of my macro would be slipping right behind it, so that is the big difference. But Tesla, not just relying on any kind of gimmicks or anything, he's going for the Warp Prism drop, he's going with the Adepts, he's going to try and put some pressure on, and behind this, he's getting up his Twilight Council, getting up his Forge. The one thing I will note about Tesla's situation is that he is a little bit light on the gateway count for now. He's just sitting on those 3 gateways, just gotten out his first Observers, so really going to need to keep that Warp Prism alive to keep his opponent at home for a bit.
Yeah, now he's looking for that damage opportunity. There's actually a little bit less in the base because of the quick investment into that Advanced Ballistics and Fusion Core. And these Adepts are going to start to do a huge amount of damage here as the SCVs running away. Lots of denied mining, a few SCVs fall. And a bit indecisive here on how to defend this is Bexby.
Yeah, the interesting thing over here to note is the fact that the Adepts do scout out these Tech Lab on top of that Starport, so that should give some early indication that something funky is going to be coming his way soon. Oh, Warp Prism barely managed to survive that Widow Mine hit. The Adept's still alive, though, and doing some damage.
Yeah, the Warp Prism getting out is a huge deal because it enables him to just continuously harass and continue responding all throughout this. It looks like the last Adept is going to get cleaned up, but the Liberators are now making their way across the map, and that Liberator range is done. He's going to start to try to put some damage into these Stalkers, and this could get a little frustrating for Tesla to deal with.
Yeah, Tesla already saw that Liberator. The Liberator tried to go further into the natural expansion, but good reaction time out of Bexby keeps the Liberator from taking any damage, and good reaction out of Tesla, having all the Stalkers in place and ready to react. But it seems like there's going to be a bit of a stalemate here, and I've got to say, stalemate sort of favors Tesla.
Yeah, especially because he's already got that third command center out on the map. He's starting to probe it. I don't even think Bexby's fired up his third command center at all. And it feels almost like he's got the infrastructure for an all-in attack, but with no potential at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now we're at that point where Tesla getting out Blink. He's already got a Disruptor out. He's getting out his second robotic facility. He's getting up his upgrades. Getting out a Stargate, interestingly enough. Ooh, this is just the ultimate level of greed. Is he just going to try and get out of some Phoenix to help deal with the Liberators? But he's still on such a low gateway count.
Yeah, I mean, the gateway count is low, but the gateway unit count is high, and he's actually feeling comfortable marching across the map here with a bunch of these Stalkers. Blink's going to be finishing up pretty soon, but the most important thing to note is he does have a Disruptor in tow, and this could do a lot of damage.
Oh, most definitely. And one really important thing to note about the Disruptor is that it is very effective at doing damage if your opponent doesn't have a lot of space to maneuver around in. And that is exactly the situation that Bexby is going to be in. He's going to be up against his own wall in and doesn't really have that much area to split around versus the Disruptor.
Blink is going to finish up, but with it, Tesla's actually going to go home and retreat. He doesn't want to attack into a 2-base Terran because there's just no point. And actually, he really needs to deal with this Liberator, which is denied a lot of mining time here.
Yeah, I hope that Tesla didn't pull back purely because of that one Liberator. I feel like most of his stalkers could have still been active on the map a little bit, but it looks like he does just decide to stay all the way back home. Finally gets that third up in mining.
Yeah, and now he's got a fully saturated third while his opponent is kind of just sitting back and defending on 2 bases. It looks like Bexby's thinking about a move out. He's stepping onto the map, but look how low that medevac count is. It's hard for Stim Bio to fight without the healing capacity over it.
It is certainly going to be very difficult. I think it's getting to that point where Tesla was playing pretty greedy, and now that greed is starting to pay off as he has had a lot of time to get up those disruptors. He's had time to get up a couple more gateways, and he's got a really, really good stalker count right now to go boot.
Well, we're going to see actually a bit of drop harassment coming in here, and there's nothing defending this main mineral line. A lot of these SCVs in the red will start to fall quite quickly. Warpins as well to reinforce this. 8 SCVs already have fallen. The bio is going to come up here to respond, but the damage has already been done here.
Oh, and at the same time, the Stalkers and the Disruptors push in at the front. Disruptors not quite getting the hits that they want, and that Seachank on the high ground doing quite a bit. Tesla not quite able to break through over here, but oh, is Bexby overcommitting with some of this Bioforce? Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's actually able to take that fight quite well.
Yeah, and Tesla now peeling back a little bit. He took a lot of damage on what I believe is his only Disruptor. And Tesla's playing a bit greedy. He's moving right into Tempest. Just one Disruptor to help control that ground army. He wants all the tech in the world, man.
Oh, Disruptor shot well dodged by Bexby. He's... You know, there's okay. Well, you know, that one sort of hurt. I was gonna say the biggest problem here is that Bexby still does not have a third expansion. If he was able to get one of those up, I feel like I would like his situation a lot better. But this is just so difficult.
Ooh, and now these tanks are a bit exposed. The Medivac is now once again in place.
Oh, more Prism Adept harassment in the natural.
This is going to be dealt with okay. 4 SCVs do fall. But as Tesla pulls all of Bexby's forces back, that gives him room to move up and start putting pressure on this wall. These depots are so red, or really these bio units are so red, and just a single Disruptor can clean them up so much.
Yeah, Liberator sieging up is actually going to do quite a bit. The Stalkers have to blink forward into the bio. Going to be taking quite a few losses over here, but I think it's going to be more than enough. A couple of Stalkers do manage to survive. The Disruptors manage to survive, and now that Tesla's on top of production with a Warp Prism, I think he might be able to end the game right here.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because he doesn't have a lot, but I don't think it's going to take much to shut down this remaining army. Almost a single Disruptor for each of these Marines. The Stalkers just targeting down the final units of Bexby, and he might eventually be able to clean this up with his production, but the damage dealt was absolutely significant.
Yeah, I mean, we got double Stargates coming down for Tesla. He's got a 4th expansion on the way. He's been building up that gateway, or has the potential to build up that gateway count a little bit more as he throws down 3 more. It's just about the raw production that Tesla has compared to Bexby.
This has been, like, kind of a weird game with like, high-tech, scrappy armies in a way, though. Like, the long-range Liberators, the low gateway unit count, fairly early Tempests. I'm really liking kind of the variation in meta we're seeing here.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, this is really just going to favor Tesla because he is able to trade units and Bexby isn't. Bexby needs to keep every unit he has alive because he is only just now getting up what I would call a 3rd expansion, but only a half a third because it's his main expansion. It's his main command center. He just floated it over.
Yeah, Terrans really want the benefits of those extra mules that come from having a 3rd orbital command. But instead he's going to be stuck on still just 2 at a time. Tesla has now broken the Liberator field and is going to march on up to continue to put pressure on Bexby here.
You have to remember, University of Florida is already down a game because they weren't able to find their first player for that first match. And oh god, losing a huge chunk of his army. Almost half the army for Bexby ends up dying to that Disruptor shot. And he's already down 1. So if they end up losing this game, University of Florida is going to be down 0-2, 1 game away from losing the series.
And now these last few units of Bexby are starting to trickle up to defend. There's almost a single Disruptor for every single bio unit here, and I am not liking the odds for the Terran as the SCVs come off the line to fight. GG!
Tesla takes victory for Temple University in game number 2.
Alright guys, so that's going to bring us to our potentially the final match here. The next one is going to be a 2v2 between Heartbeat and Centaurwa versus Aegon and Seeker. So we're going to play a quick ad to tell you a little bit more about one of our sponsors, Band. They're an awesome social gaming, social network app you can get on the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and we want you guys to learn a little bit more about it. So we're going to play an ad, and when we come back, we'll have a 2v2 for you.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. I'm Joe Laguitas. I'm joined here by Fear Dragon, and we're getting ready to go into our 2v2. It could be the last match of the night. I've got to ask you, Ravi, how do you think that Florida University's odds are here in this map?
You know, I've got to say 2v2 has always been the biggest opportunity for any team to turn around a series that they're down 0-2 in. It's always been that one big hope of, you know what, it's not necessarily always about who has the better mechanics or anything. Of course, 2v2, there's a lot of skill involved, but there's also a very different meta than the traditional 1v1 that most players, including a lot of the GM players, are used to. And they can get caught off guard by that. In this particular map, I think it's actually potentially going to be a really even series.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the players bust out. I think here in the CSL we always play on Seething Jungle for the 2v2. I don't think we've seen any other maps this season, have we?
You know, you'd be putting me on the spot if you asked that.
Oh, and I wouldn't want to do that. So instead, guys, let's hop into our game and introduce our players, because we've got a lot of them here. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner and right-hand. Spawning in the bottom. Playing for Team Temple. We have Tugboat and Centaurwa.
And their opponents up in the top right, we have the teal Protoss player, Aegon, and his teammate, Seeker, in blue as the Terran player, both representing University of Florida. So it's going to be a P versus a TZ. It's really, really fun when we get the 2v2 stuff, mirror matchups.
Yeah, especially when I think in the past we've had a lot of like, oh, double T versus TZ. So you have like 3 Terrans and then one other race. And I mean, that can actually get a bit hard to follow just because obviously when you have like 3 different colored Marines running around, it can be hard to keep track of which color's which. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's cool to see it all mixed up.
Yeah, and if anyone ever has a bit of trouble actually keeping track of, you know, who's on whose team or anything like that, just remember it's going to be Team Blue versus Team Not Blue. It's going to be a blue and gold versus red and green. I think it's a pretty easy and clear distinction to make.
Oh my god, how wonderful would it be if they could enforce like blue teal versus red pink?
I would love something like that, but I also don't expect it to actually happen because I've run tournaments before.
Yeah. Even like DreamHack, like they try to be strict about like red versus blue, and players are like, I got you, fam. And then as soon as the admin turns around, it's like, yo, I'm yellow.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Scarlet always picks pink. That's just her color. Okay, but just to talk a bit about the openings, we do have a pretty fast factory coming out over here for Seeker. Not really opting to go for any kind of early expansions or anything like that, but it doesn't really seem like Centaur is interested in that either, because he's gone for the 3 racks Reaper, and his teammate Tugboat has gone for a fairly early pull, for really quick gas, and he's already got Zerglings inside of the main bases.
Yeah, the Reaper here can kind of defend this as long as the control is good. Getting the wall up is going to mean some of these Lings are trapped on the outside. And with the 2 gateways, I don't think this initial point at least should be doing too much damage. But,
I don't know. The Reaper over here is the first Reaper for Centaur, and Temple University is in, and it's going to be doing some nice damage. Remember, there are 3 barracks behind this right now for Temple University, so they're going to be pumping out a ton more Reapers. They're going to be outproducing the blue Terran player.
Yeah, and if this pylon goes down again, it is going to unpower the Cyber Core, which means no gateway research for now. Once again, it does come back up. But even just holding that wall was actually ridiculously expensive for our Florida University team, and I think as we move past that first wave of aggression, Temple's got to be feeling pretty good about their position.
Yeah, the Reapers are getting some damage done inside that mineral line of the Protoss player. Remember, those Protoss units are probably going to be one of the biggest hopes against the Reapers. Those Stalkers quite effective, but oh no, now there's not a whole lot to defend over at the front. The Zerglings having a really hard time getting inside, though.
Yeah, and these Stalkers doing the best micro they can against the Reapers. Looks like they might almost get one more, but they're able to escape. Centaur, while showing some good control, is going to back off for now and try to just get his Reaper count back up before going in once again.
Yeah, I mean, the Stalker control is going to be so important. I really like that Aegon hasn't really lost any Stalkers, or at least lost, no, he hasn't lost any Stalkers whatsoever, which is so important because you have to remember, similar to how those Reapers will regenerate their health, the Stalkers are going to regenerate the shields.
Ooh, well, these Reapers are getting into the main mineral line of our blue Terran player, and a lot of those SCVs are falling.
Yeah, Reapers take a bit of damage over here, and it seems like some of them may end up going down. Seeker maybe getting a bit over eager, though, because now the Zergling stream on in. They're going to go after the probe line for Aegon, and there's not a whole lot else besides economy that I would say the top two right-hand side players have been going in their favor.
Yeah, I love seeing the coordination between these two Temple players. It's almost like as soon as he saw the Hellions coming over to be like, hey, we need to shush away these Reapers, Centaur just told Tugboat to go and get those Lings inside the base because he knew the front door was going to be open.
Yeah, the biggest thing now is that these Banshees that are coming out with Cloak have got to do a lot of damage, and I think, yeah, this is the exact correct decision. Aegon and Seeker have got to move across the map, and they've got to do some damage for University of Florida.
Well, this is a lot of stuff coming out here. It's going to force all these Reapers to go back home and try to fight in a more defensive position. But these Reapers have given them the crucial warning, the time to get mentally prepared, to crank out an extra couple of units. Basically, just get every tool you think you might need to be able to hold on against this attack.
Yeah, one note, Spore Crawler already down both in the main base and the natural expansion over here for Tugboat, but I don't know if that natural expansion having any defenses is really going to matter that much, although the Reaper is doing a really nice job knocking out so many of the Hellions over there with those grenades. Are really nicely done.
Yeah, but now they're forced to back off as the Stalkers are able to reinforce those Hellions. They might actually be able to pick up a retreating Roach here. Really important to raise these depots, but the Stalkers are just content to pick away at the outside of the wall for now anyways.
Yeah, but here we go. Now the Banshee is going to start to really work on this army. Seeker maybe giving a bit of hope to University of Florida, but unfortunately that missile turret is going to make things a lot harder. He's got to be so careful with the control on those Banshees.
Yeah, it looks like the Stalkers are trying to put in more work at this wall. Maybe want to knock that missile turret down to allow the Banshees to get a bit further in. Cloak being very helpful in this situation. And Stim is actually completely exposed here, Ravi.
Yeah, it ends up falling, and here we go. The Marines are so close to those Banshees, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be throwing down the scan. He has the energy, and there's the scan. One Banshee is going to go down. The second Banshee also goes down. Not quite quick enough on the reaction.
The Stalker count is still high, though, and I think it's going to come down to Micro. Because that Stim was denied, they can kind of kite against the bio forever, but the choice for Team Florida is just going to be to go home.
Yeah, here's the odd thing, though, is that Seeker wasn't making more SCVs behind this. He did get up his own command center, which is going to be good, but Centaur already has a command center, and Orbital Command finished up, and that natural expansion for Tugboat survived, so there is just a straight-up better economy going for Temple University.
Indeed, and if we look at the worker counts, it's absolutely reflected in there. Tugboat actually has a pretty low drone count for where he's at in the game. I think that's due to a lot of that aggression that happened as the counterattack. But he has the potential to just explode with his two hatcheries, and he is droning like a madman right now.
All right, Banshee coming into the main base right now of Centaur. Gonna see what damage it can get done. There is a missile turret here still, but there's no Viking or anything else like that out just yet, because guess what? Centaur was kind of focused on just making Marines, getting out a Marauder, a Reaper here and there, just defending.
Indeed, and this Banshee is just going to kind of chip away at the outside, looking for vulnerable spots. He doesn't want to overcommit and lose it. Banshee's obviously a very expensive unit. And on the other side of the map, it looks like Tugboat forced out a Photon Turbocharge, maybe with a Ling run by.
Yeah, a couple Zerglings just being as annoying as possible. Might even be able to pick away at a Stalker here and there, but it does seem like this is starting to slowly but surely transition out into a more macro-oriented game. Lair Tech also finally coming up over here for Tugboat.
Yeah, I don't think it's very often we see 8-minute layers in 1v1 games, but the meta in 2v2 is just so weird and not really anything like what we're used to. Little Banshee is going to swing around here on the left side, maybe see if we can find some damage in the bases of Tugboat.
Yeah, I like that Seeker is just continuing to make these Banshees and continuing to be annoying with them. It's actually a pretty common thing for a lot of, especially in team games, for players to say, okay, look, you're going to actually just try and macro for the both of us. I'm going to focus on micro. And you do share control. It almost becomes like Archon mode, but you have the available opportunities for two different races. And I really do wonder if players are playing things out like that, or if they are actually just dividing up the work as they normally would. Each player controls a race.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because you're probably more comfortable controlling the units that you have the most experience with, right? But like you mentioned, with Archon mode, there's all those possibilities about having like the better micro player just focus on it. So it's a lot of cool trade-offs that, as StarCraft 2 is not normally a team game, we don't normally get to talk about.
Yeah, but here we go. Centaur going for the double drop inside of Seeker's natural expansion. SCV is completely exposed, and the command center may even end up suffering a bit of good damage, but the stim is not finished up just yet, so seems like it'll live to fight another day, or mine another day.
On the other side of the map, though, there is a Protoss and Terran army pushing onto the creep of Temple University. A couple force fields are available here. If they want to zone out the army here of Tugboat, they're going to put a lot of hurt onto this natural hatchery, and it looks like it should go down as long as the control is good.
Oh, a bit of miscommunication over here. Seeker's army is not really involved in the fight, and it seems like that might just be a little bit too much. Tugboat starting to overpower, and is he going to be able to save the hatchery? He does, and he's got some transfuses left.
130 health remaining with stimmed bio. That is not a lot of DPS, but Tugboat managing to just macro out enough units to push that away. What a terrific hold from Temple University.
You know what, Joe? I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not going to lie about it. I think that Seeker, being busy with some of that harassment that was happening on the other side of the map, he was busy dealing with it. He didn't have his army attacking and involved in that fight. And because of that, I think Tugboat was able to take the fight. If that siege tank had been siege up, if those Marines were stimming forward and sniping off those Ravagers, I actually think University of Florida may have won that fight and taken out that hatchery.
I think it does answer our question, though. Are these players sharing control? Because if they were, I think Aegin would have rerouted Seeker's units there, but now these players on the back foot as Tugboat and Centaur push up at the front right natural base of this Protoss.
Even got some siege tanks in the mix, and I really like the fact that they're pushing in on this bottom side by that Protoss Nexus, since all the pylons have been sniped off now. It is going to be a fairly vulnerable point.
Yeah, especially with Tankavax and Ravagers acting as kind of the backbone of this army, while Lings and Bio can be the meat and the DPS dealers up front. This is going to be a very difficult hold here for Florida.
Yeah, Siege Tank's already whittling away at that Marine count, and I've got to say the supplies really tell the tale, because Centaur is dwarfing everybody else at 130 supply. His teammates sitting at 96, the second highest, and we have University of Florida sitting at 55 and 65.
And it looks like this Nexus is in danger of falling. Corrosive Biles land on top of everything. The army is just evaporating, and Ravi, I think we're about to see a clean 3-0 in favor of Temple University. GG!
Temple University knocking another one on their scoreboard, and going up to a solid 3-0 lead in this this season of the CSL.
Well, guys, that is the end of our matches for today. But before we go, we definitely got to talk about our sponsors and thank them for helping to support the CSL. So first up, we have Twitch. Twitch is, of course, the platform you're watching this this broadcast on. You can stream yourself. It's super easy to do. They've got great guides out there. And Ravi, why don't you tell everyone a bit about Band?
Yeah, Band Gaming is a wonderful platform that you guys can use to communicate with your friends, your team, your CSL team, or just whoever you want to communicate with, and try and organize things like gaming sessions. And this could be for StarCraft, it could be for Overwatch, whatever other game you're interested in. Band Gaming is a really great social platform for that. So do check it out and give them a little bit of love from the CSL.
Yeah, guys, so we're going to play you one more ad for Band so you can learn a bit more about them if you're interested. And other than that, we will see you. It won't be Ravi and I, but I think there's going to be some kind of broadcast on Thursday, and then I believe we'll both be back next Tuesday. No, wait.
No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm back next Tuesday. Anyways, guys, there's going to be StarCraft coming up in the near future here on the CSL. We've got the schedule on stream for you. So take a look. Hit that print screen button if you're curious to know more. And thanks so much for watching.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.